Welcome to Plug In and Power Up. I am so grateful to be here with you on this Monday morning, live streaming in multiple places: YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. Hi, everyone. I'm so grateful to be here with you. Today's topic is it in the cards? Is it in the cards? Is it in the cards for me to move forward? Is it in the cards for me to make a decision? Is it in the cards for me to say yes or to say no or to make some change in my life? We're going to dive a little deeper. I'm going to share a little personal story with you in how angel and oracle cards actually have helped me a lot, but I want to create a distinguishing differentiation as to why the cards are working and why we don't want to become reliant upon them. Okay, so for those of you that are just getting to know me, my name is Tara Antler. I'm an intuitive healer, a soul coach, and a spiritual teacher and mentor. And I've been working with clients for coming up to 23 years. And I've worked with more than 15,000 clients one-to-one. I've facilitated thousands of workshops. We've facilitated to tens of thousands of clients and participants across the world. And my husband and I are the co-founders of Ascension Academy of Light, which is a global center that specializes in manifestation, mastery, inner alchemy, relationship healing, intuition, and higher self mastery, and then the spiritual goodness, all things spiritual. So we make the woo really real, grounded, and tangible. Hi, Sarah. Thank you for being here this morning. Thank you for saying hi. So grateful. Say hi when you guys arrive. If you're catching the replay, hashtag replay for me so I can come back and catch your comments. And if you love this content, please feel free to share it. I love seeing when you guys share. It just lights up my day and my world. And so I want to dive in. Hi, Tika. Happy Monday. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. So I have a question for you, actually. Do you use cards, like oracle cards, insight cards? I call mine, I have my own deck, Tara Antler's Divine Wisdom Insight cards. I called them insight cards because I didn't want to call them oracle cards because they felt more than oracle cards. But I also have another deck here that was like a key fundamental tool in my spiritual growth called the Keys of Arcturians. And these aren't oracle cards. These are more like, well, he calls them affirmation cards, Janos, but I found them activation cards. And certain cards are very activating. That's why for me, my cards were divine insight cards because they're very activating when people look at them. So I'm curious, do you use cards? Do you have cards? And how do you use them? How often do you use them? I know that's a lot of questions, but I'm curious. I truly am curious. Making the woo a powerful remembrance again. Exactly. This is exactly what we're doing. We're building heaven on earth. We're creating heaven on earth. And I was reminded of my journey over the last couple weeks because Gabriel and I have been in this incredible workshop called the Pearl Activation. And a lot of people were like, well, the Pearl, is this related to human design? And I said, I heard about human design probably 15 years ago, but it never stuck back then. For whatever reason, it wasn't part of my journey until just recently. And I said, no, the Pearl energy, the Pearl wisdom dropped down about 11 years ago when I was getting ready to become not pregnant, but my vessel was getting ready to house Aria, our daughter, our firstborn. And this is where the Pearl energy started to drop in, where I saw this beautiful pearl above my head in this higher energy sphere. And when I asked my guides, which I've always been very intuitive, many of you know my story, I've been super, super intuitive since I was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then things dialed down at 6, then they cranked back open again at around 10 and 11, and then they dialed down again, and then they cranked back open again at 14, and then they dialed back down again, and then they really cranked open when I was 19, and it's just been like full blaze since then, and I'm 47 now. So this has been my life's journey in terms of intuition and really being deeply connected. And so I saw this big, beautiful pearl, and when I asked what this was, they said, this is where creation gets started. It starts as this orb of light, and everything starts to go into it, and it forms this pearlescent orb. And when the pearl's ready to drop down into physical existence, manifestation, it will drop down. And in this instance, it was Aria, our daughter. So it was dropping down through my central channel into my body and into my womb. And so when we initiated this conversation about the pearl activation, it's really brought to the surface a lot of memories for me around my journey, my life, certain things that have made a difference in terms of my own intuition, my own expansion, and really living as my higher self. There was a book that I read many years ago. I think it was by Sanaya Roman, and I think it's called Spiritual Growth, Being Your Higher Self. So that was a huge influence for me. I read that book when I was probably 24, 25. That was a huge influence for me in terms of knowing what this higher self energy is. And I feel like it's a core teaching that I have woven into almost every area of my life and with clients. And the reason why I wanted to talk about cards today is because cards can give us some insight. They can help us refine our intuition and tap into our intuitive gifts. So I have a question for you, and thank you so much for answering. I'm going to read some comments here, and then we're going to continue the conversation. Yes, I bought the hummingbird card, brought the hummingbird card on our trip to Monterey. That's so beautiful. That's one of my favorites, the hummingbird. It speaks to me all the time. And Sarah's saying, yes, intuitively use cards, different cards when they call to me. So I have a deck of cards I carry with me. Listen, bitch, I love that. They were gifted to me. Whenever I meet someone who I feel a connection with, I ask them to pick a card and they keep it. I love that. And now we're united. It's actually really cool and created a beautiful connection. I love that so much. I actually, whenever I'm on retreat or if we're doing a live event, I'll bring extra decks of my own and I will gift people a card in a meditation. That's what we're getting ready to do down in Collingwood in less than a week, 6 days from now. We're going to be facilitating. So I'm going to gift everybody a card. I think it's a really beautiful thing to do for people because there's certain messages that do resonate with us, right? Yes, I've become more intuitive and psychic. I haven't been called to cards as much. And so I'm going to talk to you as to why, Sarah, because there is a reason why at a certain point along our journey, we don't need the cards anymore. Maybe when we're first starting, we might need the cards. So this is why the question is it in the cards? And is it the cards that are telling me what to do? Are the cards telling me what to do? When we're first starting our journey or when we're first starting to wake back up or we're turning the dial back up on our intuition, it is actually really helpful to have tools like cards or pendulums or crystals and things like that because we're waking back up. For some reason, we turn the dial down and then something happens along our journey and we turn the dial back up. And it's really great because it helps build trust because you already know the answers. You all have the answers already within you. It's just sometimes we doubt ourselves. And this is a big part of what we've been talking about in the Pearl activation is that many people doubt themselves when they're turning their gifts back on. They doubt. They doubt what they're getting. They question what they're getting. They receive some sort of insight and then they second guess. Or they go and consult somewhere else or someone else because they're not fully in a state of trust. And when you want to live as your higher self, you have to cultivate trust. And that's why I love having tools. And this is what I would say cards are for me now. They're fun tools to have around. They're beautiful to have around, but I'm not reliant upon them. And I think this is the difference is that the more you activate your intuition, you activate the connection to your higher self, you can then put down the cards. You can still have them and have them as fun tools, but you're not reliant upon them. You're not reliant upon them. You're not saying it's the cards that are making the decision for me. The cards are just reaffirming what you already know. You just needed a little help. You just need a little helper. And that's what the cards really are for. And so at a certain point along our journey, we might put down the cards because we've refined so much of what we are inside. We trust deeply what we're getting already inside that you can put the cards down because you trust so deeply that when I ask the question or I'm consulting or getting insight, it comes and it comes fast and you trust it and you know it and you go. That's where I would love everybody to get to, is that they get to that place. And this is the refinement that we're doing in Thrive Evolution. We're moving into intuition and higher self-mastery in about a week and a half from now. We start the new module of Thrive Evolution. And this one is really about refining your intuitive gifts, refining what's already there, opening up to the next level because your intuition is like an ever unfolding flower. There's no cap. It's infinite. So even if we're already open, there's further and further, higher and higher layers of ourself to go. Maybe it's increasing our ability to have telekinesis, where you don't even need your phone to send messages. You're just picking up. And you're sending out. Or maybe you want to connect to people who have passed away, or maybe you want to talk to your guides, or maybe you want to become a very active co-creator where you're utilizing your intuition and your connection to your higher self and that divine wisdom that's coming in to actually co-create whatever the realities that you want. That's a part of intuition too. It's having a vision. We talked about this yesterday in a bonus session that Gabriel and I did inside our Facebook group. So if you want access to it, the replays are up till tomorrow. That was a very powerful conversation that we had yesterday. And we're going to have another continuation of that because we didn't get through all that we wanted to cover yesterday in terms of when you really want to live something incredible, it helps to have vision. If you want to create heaven on earth, you need vision, or else you're just flailing around, flip-flopping around, and you're like, well, I don't know what it is that I'm really creating, but I'm just going to go for it. Or we become comfortable and we become complacent. And when we become comfortable and complacent, we're living just, man, we're okay, things are fine. But then there's exceptional living. And when we step into exceptional living, you start dreaming bigger, you start having bigger visions drop down, and vision can come in easier when your intuition is open and when you have a line of connection to your higher self. Hi, Michael. Thanks for tuning in today. Yeah, we could definitely connect, Sarah, 100%. Send me a private message on Facebook. That'd be great. And so when you have access to your intuition, and then when you start dialing into your higher self and the messages, the insights are coming in through your higher self, now you've paired up two pieces of your puzzle that are going to make your manifestations a lot easier. You're no longer distracted by what it is you think you want. You're no longer distracted by what the world thinks you want. You're no longer distracted by your past and what the past is telling you in repeat loops around what to create. You really start creating from a fresh perspective. From a fresh perspective. Can we live all three at the same time? Yes, you can. You can totally live all three. You can have your intuition open. You can live as your higher self, and you're actively manifesting and creating. That's the goal. That's ultimately where we want to get to, is that our intuition is so open that we trust what we're getting. We trust what we're receiving. We're dialing into our higher self, so I automatically trust what I'm receiving. And then when the visions come and I have the capacity and the know-how to create, I just go for it. Okay? So I want to tell you a little story. When I first started cranking open my intuition when I was 19, cards kept coming into my life. People were gifting me cards. I have so many different cards over here on my shelf. And one of the cards that I really resonated with was Doreen Virtue. Now I know she's not making cards anymore. She left spirituality and went full on into religion, which is fine, I suppose. But she basically flatlined her entire everything. She squashed and diminished everything she had already created, which I think is very interesting. So her Ascended Master cards were one of my favorites. Now this deck has been so well used. If I was to show you, like, the pages are all, they've been really well used. Okay, this book has been really well used. It's been everywhere with me. And I really like this deck because I like the variation that was in it. And many times I would get these really big visions that would drop down. Any of you ever have that? We get a lot of big visions that drop down. And when these big visions drop down, sometimes it can feel really exciting. You're like, woo, like, let's go already. And then other times you can be like, okay, what am I going to do with that? Or when is this going to happen? Or when am I supposed to take that step? Or holy cajoli, I don't even know what's going on right now, right? And there's this moment where we might freeze, or we might stop, or we might slow ourselves down. This is where cards can come in and help validate, verify exactly what you're getting. And so when I got back from my yoga teacher's training, I was in Costa Rica for 30 days. I got back to Toronto. The moment I got to my house, my girlfriends picked me up. We drove into the driveway, and actually, as we were getting there, I was feeling more and more nauseous, like I didn't want to be there anymore. And the moment we pulled into the driveway, I'm like, no, I don't even want to get out of the car. Take me anywhere but here. I don't want to be here. This isn't my place anymore. I need to go. And the intuitive sense was so strong. It was so visceral that I literally was like, stop. And so I got out because all my stuff was in the house. So they walked me in, and I unpacked, and they sat with me for a bit. And day by day, I was like, nope, this is not where I'm supposed to be. This is not where I'm supposed to be. And so little by little, I just kept surrendering, and I kept asking the questions. So sometimes we get to this point where the current life that we're living doesn't fit anymore. Whether you've outgrown who you are, whether you've outgrown your scenario, whether you've outgrown an already existent manifestation and dream, and you're like, I'm ready for something different. I'm ready for the next version of myself. What starts to happen is we start feeling like something's off. We start feeling like something needs to shift. Now, if we have intuitive connection to and playing with our higher self, living as our higher self, it's easier to get the guidance because you can quickly go up and be like, okay, what's next? Not from pressure, not from fear, but just curiosity. Okay, what's next? That's what I started to do. I was like, okay, what's next? Other people, if they don't have a strong connection to their higher self, or they're not living as their higher self, which I think is really, really essential at this point in the game, because there's many other ways that many people can live that's not in alignment with the higher self. When you cultivate that connection, and it's a daily connection, it's not something that you just do once. You're like, okay, great, I connected with my higher self, now move on. This is something that we want to continue to live as our higher self and continue that cultivation. Because just like there's many distractions in the world, there's so many distractions, you guys. Flip on your phone, distraction central. Flip on the TV or radio. I don't watch regular TV or listen to the regular radio, but distractions. Ads, distractions. Everywhere, distractions. People you talk to, distractions. There's so much coming at us that it's bombarding. And it can pull us out of center, it can pull us out of alignment. So this is where cultivating that connection to your highest self is really, really important. And someone asked the question in the workshop, can you define what the higher self is? And I'm going to bring it here because I think this is really important for everybody just to have like a base level of knowledge and wisdom. The higher self is the most expanded version of you. It holds the blueprint for all that you can become in the highest expression of you. All that you can become, the highest expression of you. Now, you don't have to become the highest expression of you. Many people, in fact, don't. Many people play small. Many people play in fear. Many people stay in doubt. Many people live in drama. Many people live in chaos. Many people are looking for the next, hit to feel good, and then they plummet. Many people don't live as their higher self. And it's really sad when I see that because there's so much more that we could be living. There's so much more we could be living. When you start living as your higher self, you access the highest expression of you. That means ultimate abundance, ultimate wealth and prosperity, infinite possibilities start opening up. Magic starts opening up and knocking at your door almost every day. Your relationships get harmonized. You get happy. You feel good. You feel healthy. You feel rejuvenated. You look youthful. Everything just starts working because your higher self is holding the framework for the highest expression of who and what you are. This is the work that we're getting ready to do in the next week and a half for 12 weeks. Diving deeper into connecting and cultivating that connection, that relationship to your higher self, so that you're not only just touching it, you're becoming your higher self. You're living as your higher self, and you know enough of discernment to feel when you're in alignment with your higher self and when you're not in alignment with your higher self, and then you come back to center. And then we're going to activate the intuition. So once you start activating intuition, you open up the deeper layers of yourself, even if you're already intuitive. There's higher and higher and higher expressions to go. People sometimes ask me this question, and I said, Gabriel and I have worked with some really, really well-known spiritual teachers in the world, and people who are already very intuitively open, who are psychics, who are intuitives of their own, who are healers. I think about Louise Hay. She was a visionary, huge visionary. She was one of my clients. Why did she want to come and get some energy work? Because there was stuff that she still needed some support with. So sometimes we have to be humble with ourselves to be like, it's okay, I'm going to grow. And maybe I get to do this in a mentorship experience. Maybe I get to walk alongside somebody who's going to hold the space, hold higher energy, hold activation energy for me so that I can activate the greater versions of myself. I need mentors. I love having a mentor. So that's a side note, okay? When you activate your intuition to the next level and you're in alignment, so now you're pairing up your higher self with your intuitive gifts. And when those start to click in and dial in, then you start to get really clear insight. So for me, coming back to my story, I was in Toronto and I just knew something felt really off. So many times that's the first place people will go. They'll feel off. Something feels off. Once you feel off, you can either sit in the offness forever or not, or you can start to clear whatever the offness is, which is what I highly recommend. Alchemize it. This is another big piece that we teach our clients and students how to do. Alchemize, transform, clear the energy so that you're not staying stuck in it. And then rise back up again. And once I did that and I tuned in, I said, okay, where am I going? Because I knew change was knocking at my door. Where am I going? And I heard California. And then I heard it again and again and again and again. So I got the message clear as day. But there was a little part of me that I wasn't fully trusting back then. So this would have been, I just turned 30. And I was like, I don't know. What am I going to do in California? How am I going to make money in California? Where am I going to get clients from? Am I going to need a visa? How's this all going to work? How's this going to work? How's this going to work? How's this going to work? Where am I going to live? All these questions started coming in. I just built this really big, beautiful business and practice in Toronto. I had so many clients. I had a wait list of 2 weeks. I'm just going to leave all that. And then the world started reflecting both. So I want you to pay attention to this for yourself because the world will reflect to you. It will reflect to you the high points and the low points and anything else that you are holding in your consciousness. So the world started reflecting back to me. Parents were saying, are you sure you want to go to California? Like, what are you going to do there? How's that all going to work? I'm like, oh, that sounds familiar. Sounds like exactly what I've been saying inside my head. What are you going to do with your business? What are you going to do with your practice? What are you going to do with your clients? You built this up over the last 10 years. What are you going to do? You're just going to walk away from it? I was like, oh, this sounds familiar. I've been thinking the exact same thought. So here's the lower end of the spectrum reflecting back to me. The world's now reflecting back to me. It's messaging back to me because I initiated that. I felt that. This is where people sometimes get confused because they'll believe the lower frequency, the lower vibration, the lower little t truth, thinking that it's capital T truth, and this is where we misstep. If I would have listened to that, that would have been a misstep. That would have been going in not in my highest direction. So what I needed to do was recalibrate, come back to my higher self yet again, clear doubt, clear fear, clear whatever that stuff was that was coming in. And again, this is everything that we do inside of Thrive Evolution, by the way. We're getting ready to step into intuition and higher self mastery. This next section in Thrive Evolution is called Perfect Your Pearl. So perfecting the connection to your higher self, perfecting your intuition, opening it to the next level, and then being able to perfect your alchemization so that we we clear the distraction. And then it's not hammering us all the time. So once I did that, I came back into clarity. But I still had this little bit of doubt. So I started to consult my cards. Okay, so this is where helpers come in. I consulted this deck. And I said, okay, I had accepted I'm going to California. Because then my external clairvoyance started working for me. I started seeing signs, license plates. Why am I going to California? Or what's my next step? That's what I was asking. What's my next step? I'd see California license plates. I turned on the radio in my car. Immediately, California songs. Everything was about California. Then all of a sudden, a bunch of my clients who were in the film industry, they came to me and I said, well, what's next? What are you guys up to? We're moving to California. Everywhere I looked and everywhere I turned was California. So now my external clairvoyance and clairaudience is speaking to me to verify. So everything, when your intuition is open, all parts, there's actually 6 points to your intuition. All 6 parts of your intuition will start talking to you to verify and validate what you are getting, what you deeply know inside is truth that you're probably not fully believing as yet. So this is where our intuition will dial up, it will crank up if we're listening. And this is where having things like cards were really helpful. Now I'm going to shuffle the cards. This is what Aria did. Aria got a hold of these many years ago when she was just little. She liked playing with my cards. She put sparkles on them and she cut them up. Not all of them, but she cut one of them up. The one that she loved the most, which was unicorns. I still kept them. I love them. And you can't buy these anymore. They're out of print. Unless you go to a used bookstore maybe, but they're out of print, so you can't get them anymore. I tried to get a deck and then I got some knockoff set that's like half the size. So funny. Anyway, so I said, okay, I accept that I'm going to California. So part of it is accepting that you're going to do the thing. So I accepted. And then I started to ask the question. So do you notice what I'm saying here? Like every time you accept a piece of clarity, there's usually another question that rises, right? Like, why am I going to California? Once you accept that, why? Our brain, like the little girl within us, is like, why? Why is the sky blue? Why do butterflies do that? Why does this happen? Why is it moving like that? Why is it like that? We ask the question, why? We want to know. We're curious. So once I got curious and I said, okay, why am I going to California? And I would use this deck over and over and over again. And I don't know how many times, and I'll test it out and see if it works again. It may not because I'm not necessarily focused on that. See, it's telling me to go right. But I would do this deck and every single time the twin flame card would come up. Every single time. Every time. So I'm choosing random cards and the twin flame's not coming up because I found my twin flame. Gabriel. So it's telling me choose peace, go right. These are the cards that are coming up now, right? Freedom. Totally different. But I swear to you, every single time I grabbed this deck, the twin flame card, and I know it's in here somewhere, the twin flame card would come up. Why am I going to California? And this twin flame card would come up. I'm going to try and find it here. It would come up over and over and over again. Now, was it the cards that made the decision for me to go to California? No. Did it validate the message? Yes. Did I already get the message, California? Yes. And this is where having cards can sometimes help because what they're basically doing, it's validating and verifying what my energy and higher self has already told me. So basically, my higher self is utilizing the cards or utilizing street signs or utilizing songs on the radio or utilizing license plates to verify and validate and to relay the message that my higher self is already giving me that I'm just not trusting. That's basically what it's doing. So your higher self will utilize all sorts of mediums. We'll use all sorts of mediums. Here it is. All sorts of mediums around you, available to you, things that you're already in alignment with, things that you might already be playing in, to basically relay the message, to convey and relay the message that was already given to you, but you just weren't trusting it. And it will continue to do that until you expand, until you refine your gifts, until you open your intuition, and until you get to the point where you are the channel. And this is what I realized in that experience for me. I became the channel. I have been in channeling and mediumship classes for 2 years, deepening my practice, cultivating that connection, trusting in myself. And then finally, I put down the cards. Now I still utilize them for fun because they're fun and I get curious and I like fun. I like to be playful. But this was the card that came up to the point where there's a crease in it. Look at this. This card came up so many times that there's an actual crease other than the card that Aria. None of the cards have creases in them because it came up so many times. To verify and validate, to convey and to relay a message from my higher self that I wasn't fully trusting. So I want you to look at this for yourself, okay? If you're reliant upon tools, sorry to say, sorry, not sorry. There's higher and deeper for you to go. There's a point of mastery yet for you to master. These are fun tools. These are excellent tools. They're great helpers. But if you're reliant on stuff like this to give you the message, it's fine if you want to bring them in and it's a part of the experience. They're helpers. But if you're reliant, if you can recognize they're helpers, that's great. If you're reliant upon them, like I need these in order to give me the message, you're not fully trusting in yourself as yet. You're not trusting in your own intuitive gifts as yet, and you're not trusting in the connection that you have to your higher self as yet. The good news is there are places you can go, there are people you can study with to refine your intuition, to strengthen your trust, to deepen the experience of your higher self. And one of those ways is coming to work with us. Many people ask, they're like, how do we work with you guys? Okay, well, I'm going to tell you a way that you can work with us right now. And then I have one more message for you. One of our signature programs is called Thrive Evolution. And Thrive Evolution is a 12-month program. Now, it's broken down into seasons. We are wrapping up the season of money and manifestation mastery, really becoming your co-creative genius, teaching you really about the interworkings of creation and how creation works and you as a creator. We're wrapping that up. Now, if you come into 12 months, you'll have access to those. So you can go back and binge watch all of that stuff and still become a powerful co-creator. The season that we're entering into, every summer, we enter into the season of intuition and higher self mastery. Every season in Thrive for the last 6 years has some evolution. That's why it's called Thrive Evolution, because we evolve, you evolve, the collective consciousness evolves. What's being asked of us to channel and bring through and to deliver, it evolves. This season of Thrive is called the Perfecting Your Pearl. A lot of the work is going to be focused on connecting you to your higher self, cultivating that deep knowing of your higher self, feeling your higher self, living as your higher self. That's the very first thing. Alchemizing and transforming and clearing any trust, any doubt, any insecurity, any wavering that you still have. If you have a reliance on cards, if this is the thing that's giving you the answers, refine that. You can still use them as a tool, fun little helper, but you're not reliant upon them. You really need to stand back up. Let's have a conversation, Michael. Send Gabriel or I a message. Gabriel's up at the house right now. He can message you. Yeah. Clear out the distractions. And so as we alchemize that, we get rid of the distractions. You clear the distractions. Hi, Jen. We're coming your way soon. Clear the distractions. Clear out the doubt. Clear out any of that concern. Once that distraction is cleared off, it's like cleaning the fuzz off your third eye. We safely help people to detoxify and decalcify their pineal gland. Every single person on this planet has gone through a calcification of their pineal. There's many reasons why that's happening, but I won't go into it right now. Peeling back the layers so that your intuition can open easily. Your third eye, all 6 points of your intuition can open easily, gently, safely, beautifully, lovingly work with you. And then we're going to open the layers of you. It's like a flower that just infinitely opens and unfolds. The higher you want to go, the higher you get to go. The more you want to refine your intuition, the greater you get to refine your intuition. Hi, Marta. Thanks for tuning in. And so we're opening to the next level of ourselves. And then we're going to utilize our connection to our intuition, our connection to our higher self, and alchemizing this stuff. Fluoride's a big, big contributor, 100%. Fluoride is one of the worst things, and I just heard the other day that they're adding it back into most city water systems in Canada and some in the US, which is awful. Fluoride is one of the biggest contributors to calcifying and closing down your third eye, because there's certain people that don't want you to have vision. They don't want you to dream big. They don't want you to think outside the box. They want you to be a sheep for the rest of your life. Follow what everybody tells you to do, no matter what. Don't question anything. Become a robot. Just do that. If you don't want that and you want to be free, maybe that's why the freedom card was coming up over here. You want to be free, you have to detoxify, you have to decalcify your pineal gland. Your pineal gland is your third eye. It sits like a cross section. I studied anatomy and physiology. I did health sciences in university for 4 years, graduated as honors from Western University. I studied anatomy and physiology. I know the pineal gland. It's so tiny, and yet it's mighty. It's super powerful, and it's very sensitive. It's sensitive to chemicals that they spray in the air. It's sensitive to the foods that you eat. It's sensitive to light and energy. It's sensitive to our phones and frequencies. So we have to be mindful of that if we want to open our intuition and not dampen it. There's been a dampening effect for hundreds of years. This has been in play. Dampen, close it down, shut it down. Don't dream big. Don't think outside the box. Don't become a powerful creator, and don't create heaven on earth. There's a whole system generated to create that and sustain and maintain that. And then there's those of us that are like, F that, I came here to be free. I came here to open my gifts, to open myself, to become a full creator, to utilize all my intuitive capacities and gifts, and I'm doing that now. So if that's the vibe for you, private message me. Okay, we have really great rates right now. The rates go back up to regular rates on Wednesday because Gabriel and I are taking a couple days off, so we can go down to Collingwood. We're speaking at a beautiful yoga convention and festival. And so we're going to take a couple days off, and regular rates go back up on Wednesday. The new module starts in just over a week. So if this is something that you're in alignment with, message me, message Gabriel, get in touch with us. Let's get going now. We've got some great bonuses for you guys, some one-on-one sessions. There's live Q&A every week. It's such an incredible experience. And it's not just us talking. We give you a lot of tools. Anybody in our community can attest to that. We give you the experience. We give you the embodiment. And this is really important right now in the day and age of AI. You could go chat GPT. I think I said it right this time. Anything. I tested it out the other day because I was a little bit hesitant and I was in resistance, to be honest with y'all. So I said, let me get on here because I'm seeing all sorts of things. People are asking me questions that I need to know. So I got on. It just reflects back to us. You train it. That's basically what it is. And it's tapping into, I asked it straight up, by the way. I said, are you tapping into, now I know a lot about the different dimensions. So I said, are you tapping into the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and beyond dimensions? And it said no. It said, I'm drawing upon information that you have given it. So basically we've pumped and primed the AI machine. And it's reflecting back to us what we've already done. I can tell you, I have searched certain things. And I said to Gabriel, this sounds just like a workshop that you and I created 10 years ago. We've primed it. Every time I go live, every time we go on Zoom, that data is going somewhere and it's priming the AI container field. And I asked it, I said, so what's the role then? If you can give us all the information, I said, what's the role of healers and spiritual teachers? I asked it straight up and it said, we can't give you embodiment. We can't connect you to God, creator. Only you can do that. We can't dream for you. Only you can do that. We can't create life on earth. Only you can do that. We play a big, big role, you guys. The next module is the intuition and higher self. And we're calling it Perfect the Pearl. So there's going to be a different theme. All the content that we've done before in terms of expanding your intuition, if you're new, people will get access to that because it's really important for you guys to expand your own intuitive gifts. And we're layering in new pieces that are really helping you perfect your own higher self pearl. So when I got this from the chat the other day, and I said to Gabriel, I'm like, this is our role now. This is our time. You guys can Google anything. You can chat GPT anything. But applying it is up to you. Getting the tools, the teachings, that's up to you. Who you go choose to study with and energize and activate with, that's up to you. I'm very mindful as to who I let in my ears and my head. I'm very mindful as to what I let into my consciousness. I highly recommend that you do the same. Yeah, it's for 3 months. Exactly. There's one-on-one sessions that are included in that. We have something special for alumni as well, Michael. Yeah. And so if you're feeling that you want to deeply embody, again, you can go chat all you want. You can research all you want. You can get the tools. We've primed it. All us spiritual teachers out there, we've primed it. We've primed the AI machine. Now, the next level is embodiment. You need to have the experience real time. You need to be in circle. I will tell you this honestly, and then I'll close out here. Sitting in circle, in channeling circles, in meditation circles, in energy healing circles, those were some of my favorite magical times in my life. Because it was no longer just me. It was me sitting in circle in high consciousness energy, in spiritual energy with others who were also wanting to do the same thing. There's an amplification when we come together. When voices come together, we amplify, we sound, right? The sound goes out even wider. When we meditate together, we amplify the field even more. Imagine when you bring 30, 40, 50 people together, all focused on intuition and higher self-expansion and perfecting our pearl. What do you think is going to happen? Oh, it just paused me up there. Hopefully we're still live. What do you think is going to happen? We're going to amplify the field like no other. For real. Let me wave. This thing's telling me I have to be active on the app. So let me wave at some people here on Instagram so it knows that I'm active. We're going to amplify the field. We're going to expand. We're going to create heaven on earth. For real. That's the opportunity. That's really what we're doing here. So if you're curious and you feel that inner call, you feel that inner pull, this is, again, not just another program. This is an experience. This is an experience of you remembering. We're going to guide you to remember. We're going to guide you to live as your higher self. We're going to guide you to refine. We're going to walk you through tools, experiences, energy activations, practices that we ourselves have been practicing. Well, for me, it's been forever. Since I was 3, I've been very awake and open intuitively. And I had to learn how to open myself back up when I dialed myself down. If you want to connect to guides, we're going to help you with that. You want to connect to loved ones? I had my Grandma Antler come and sit in my Grandpa Antler's chair. This one back here. This is my Grandpa Antler's chair. I love it so much. I keep it. I have it because it's just one of those nostalgic things. She was able to come in and she said, what you guys are doing here in Thrive, what you're doing here with your clients, she said, you all are doing something that most will never not do. Most will never access this. You've literally just set yourselves free. That's what she said to me the other night in Thrive. I was bawling my eyes out. All you know, last session of that module, I was bawling my eyes out. It was so emotional. She said, you set yourselves free. What you just tapped into is the capital T truth, and you just set yourself free. You're no longer confined. This is the work that we're doing in Thrive right now. It's incredible and it's beautiful. And to be able to have my Grandma Antler, who passed away many, many years ago, like 14 years ago, come in and sit with me and talk with me and reaffirm was really, really beautiful and really special. And I want that for all of you. There's a deep soul truth in knowing that you have of yourself, of your gifts, of your light, of what you're here to create. And if you're not yet accessing that, it's time. It's time. And so I would love for you to no longer be guided by fear or distraction. I want you to be guided by your inner truth and your inner knowing. So if you're feeling the pull, the invitation is open. The pearl is open. The shell is open. We invite you in. If you want to come in and do the next 3 months with us, be with us, experience this, activate your intuition, your higher self, activate the pearl, perfect your own pearl, which is your heaven on earth creation, attune to it, and then activate it through your intuitive gifts. This is everything that we're doing in the next 3 months. If you love it and you're like, I want to stay, you can always upgrade and continue with us for the year. If you're like, I just know I want to come and do something with you guys for a year, then come into the Full Thrive. Full Thrive. The next section is spiritual mastery. And so we're diving deeper into the difference between shadow and your spiritual self and creating a new Thrive paradigm. So you hear me talk about that in the fall. But for the next 3 months, intuition and higher self is the name of the game. It's the focus. Just private message me, okay? If you want more information, private message me. We'll get you set up, get you going. We're gonna have a lot of fun. It's gonna be really powerful. So I'm gonna leave you with this. I'm gonna draw a card. And we'll see what our higher selves collectively wants to reaffirm for us today. So if you could pour all of your attention and intention into your higher self connection, what is in the highest and best good? What is the message for everyone in the collective today? They're like, you already said it, you already nailed it. See, your intuition and your higher self will speak to you as you speak, okay? It will speak to you as you, oh my gosh, this card keeps coming up. Okay, there's a couple of them here. 1, allow yourself to feel, not fear your feelings. So your feelings, your emotions are gifts to your growth. It's the first one. This one came up 3 times in the last week. It's a shake up to wake up. You're growing. So we're growing right now. We're growing spiritually. We're growing intuitively. We're growing our higher selves. We're growing. What's your next growth step? What do you know you need to do next? This one. And there's 4 cards that came up. Honor life cycles. Return to your natural rhythm. So this is about us coming back to us. This is really what this is. Our natural cycle is to be open. Our natural self is to be open. Intuitively connected to our higher vision, connected to our heaven on earth creation, and to do it. So honor your life cycles. That's what we're doing right now. We're in the season and cycle of intuition. And the last one is this. I am the grand magician of my reality. And this is exactly what we've been talking about. You are the grand magician. You are the grand creator of your reality. What are you going to do with all that energy? What are you going to do with all that creational energy? I say let's go do something awesome. And if you want to come and do that with us, we would love to. I'd be so honored. It would be such a gift to be able to work with you and to expand and create as many heaven on earth experiences for you, for your family, for all of us as possible. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm sending you all so much love. I hope you have the most beautiful day. I hope this conversation resonated. Thank you, Ildiko. Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everybody, for being here live. Thank you, Marta. Thank you, Mindy. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Ricky. Thank you, Sarah. I think I saw Mary on here as well. Thank you so much. Thank you, Maria. Thank you so much for being here. Love you all. Have a beautiful day.